Good evening, everybody. I think we're just about ready to start. So thank you for coming back for this final session this evening, which is for the launch of the General Comment No1, written by the African Committee of Experts on the Rights and Welfare of the Child. Let me introduce myself first of all. My name is Alison Hannah. I'm the Executive Director of Penal Reform International, and we are delighted to be able to be here at this conference, both to hear what everybody has been saying for the last couple of days and also to be able to help support the General Comment launch. As you may know, the General Comment is designed to give guidance on how to deal with children of incarcerated parents. It's a point that is often very overlooked, and I'm very pleased that Corinne and Keeping Children Safe have allowed us to come here to hold the launch. I would like to thank our distinguished panel of speakers who you'll be hearing from in a few moments. Julia needs no further introduction, as everybody heard her yesterday, and we are very delighted that she is going to be able to officially launch the document and also explain it to you. We're also very pleased to have Beatrice Arionget and Dr. Shimeles Sigari from the African Child Policy Forum. I would also like to thank the donors who have helped us to support this event, plan, and also UK aid. And of course, finally, and by no means least, thanks to all of you for staying on after the end of today's quite busy programme for the launch event. So thank you very much for coming. The aim of this event is to launch the document, General Comment No1. I hope you've all got a copy on your seats. And there is also a short guide, which unfortunately has been dumped at the Customs Office in Cape Town, and we haven't been able to get it out of their office. So at the moment, we don't have enough copies of the short brochure. It is available online from our website, plug, www.penalreform.org, and it will be produced in English, French, and shortly in Arabic as well. In November last year, the committee adopted General Comment No1 on Article 30 of the African Charter. Article 30 is unique within the body of regional and international children's rights because it highlights directly how the rights of children are affected when their primary caregivers are caught up in the criminal justice system. We would like to congratulate the African Committee on producing General Comment No1, which along with the new General Comment 2 represents a significant landmark in soft human rights law regionally and internationally. The General Comment sets out the legal, policy and administrative measures that state needs to have in place in order to protect the rights of the children. It's vitally important that the General Comment is implemented by states and by civil society organisations. We haven't yet decided how we as an organisation will follow up on the publication of the General Comment. We would like to work together with other partners to carry out some research. One idea would be to look at the state obligations under Article 30 as interpreted in the General Comment. This would look into the law and policy frameworks in place in a number of African countries that have an impact on the children of parents in conflict with the law. The overall objective is to strengthen the rights of children with incarcerated parents, to highlight the gaps in the law and policy, to make recommendations, and to identify examples of good practice that can be shared regionally and internationally. So I hope that that sets out the background to this launch event, and would like to introduce our first speaker, who needs no introduction, Julia Sloth-Nielsen, who is now going to officially launch the General Comment and also explain its content to us. Thank you very much, Julia.
Thank you very much to Penal Reform International. And before I commence with the overview, I'd like to say thank you to some other people. Firstly, I'd like to say thank you to Lorenzo Wakefield, who a former colleague and former student, who was instrumental in drafting the first concept of this general comment at the University of the Western Cape, and who then deserted us, but he's back here tonight to bask in the glory. He now works for another NGO. But the project was supported by Plan, and that is why Beatrice is also here to speak later, and she will explain more about Plan's involvement with the general comment. But thank you to Lorenzo for a job well done. I also need to say thank you very much to Penal Reform International, who have provided ongoing technical support to the committee in an extremely specialized area where it is difficult to find expertise in the NGO sector at all. I personally have worked in the area of children who are incarcerated with their mothers, babies and infants, and it's something on which there is very isolated expertise throughout the world. It's also very significant, I believe, that in 1990 already, which is, as I say, 24 years ago, the drafters of the African Charter saw fit to include a dedicated article on this issue, reflecting the realities of the difficulties that are experienced in prisons in Africa. And the most marginalized group of all must be that smallish group of babies who grow up in prisons with their mothers, who are then criminalized through no crime or fault of their own. So this is significant, I think, in drawing to the fore a very hidden group of child rights victims and providing concrete guidance to state parties as to what to do. Now, is anybody else I must thank? I didn't make notes. If there's anyone else I must thank, then I'll try and remember at the end. So the significance of the general comment is, first of all, that it is the first general comment that we decided to do to highlight the significance of the fact that the African Charter is not the same document as the Convention on the Rights of the Child. There are nuanced differences because the Charter was tailored to the African context. And this is one example. We will be highlighting others during the course of further work that we do on general comments and also in respect of other publications that we might put out. So the fact that an African country has ratified the Geneva CRC does not mean that that is the end of the story. There are additional obligations, different obligations, complementary obligations that are incurred under the Charter. Second, the reason why this general comment is particularly important for us as a committee is because it sets the framework for how we will address our guidance to state parties. And that is made fairly clear to you if you just open the general comment to the very first page, the table of contents, and you will see that it consists, they might differ slightly in future, but the general idea is that first it will deal with the objectives of the general comment and the